Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe and this is the Paddock Podcast. I'm joined by Jay Marty. How are you?
I'm alright, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Big day today.
I'm over it.
And I'm joined by Stephen Howson as well. How are you feeling?
Alright, what'd you have for dinner?
For dinner, tapas. Fantastic. We're not going to be talking about tapas. We're going to be talking about...
Don't you dare
lying.
deviate from my
Manchester United.
deviation
You're
so
lying.
soon.
You what?
You're lying.
Well, yeah, but you called dinner lunch.
Yeah, well, lunch doesn't exist.
No, we don't.
Yeah, it does.
We
I
call
Breakfast, dinner and tea.
Yeah.
Ah, there is no lunch.
Well, there is.
You've been in Northern Quarter far too long. You think
Lunch.
tapas is an acceptable lunch.
I didn't have it for lunch.
He didn't have it, he's lying anyway.
I did
What
for
did you
dinner
have?
last night. When dinner is.
No! What have you just had as your middle day meal?
Oh, sausage, bacons, potatoes. All like that.
Bacon and potatoes.
No, I had a little full English dinner. Anyway, I want to talk about the manager and Manchester United.
man, you didn't
At
have
some point
potatoes.
today. There were
Right.
no potatoes on it.
Potatoes.
Hash brown.
You seen how sunny
But
it
they
is
weren't.
outside?
It's lovely.
Just fuck this off and go sit outside.
Right, we can turn Steve's mic down for a couple of minutes because he's trying to brewify it. You had the
Right.
brew on Friday.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. He was
Oh,
away.
someone did. Right.
He was on the brew with me on Friday. Oh, yeah, I guess. Well, it's me and him back on Friday. So if you want some utter wibble, me and him will be back in good form.
Yeah, I'm going to present you with a,
I know.
with a
I previewed
statement,
it yesterday.
Steve, and I think you might disagree or you might agree with me.
Is it? Stevenson Square is the biggest beer garden in Europe.
No, I think Manchester United were unlucky to lose yesterday.
Yeah, you're right.
We were quite good. And
No, you're wrong on that.
no, but I'm not.
No,
though.
we were unlucky to not win.
Right.
We definitely could have won that game.
Yeah.
But we weren't quite good.
Why do you think we weren't quite good?
I watched the game.
I know, but you say this, but United weren't overrun in midfield like we have been. We split. They had more chances than us, admittedly, but they're probably a team that's further down the line than us, and they're at home. We had the chance to win the game in the 89th minute. We had 2 injuries to 2 centre-backs during the game and another one injured before the game. Both of our left-backs are out. I think the fact that we still were able to compete with Arsenal, you know, and we'll get through some of the things in a minute that actually happened in the game that could have gone our way but didn't. I think that United put in a good performance. What did you think of those things? Either weren't true or weren't quite how I'm presenting.
I don't think it was good.
Right.
I think it was acceptable.
Okay.
I think it was very, very like things don't have to be good or bad. They can be in the middle of the road.
Do you think it was? Do you think Erik Ten Hag got his tactics right? I know that sounds weird because we lost, but there's certain things you can't legislate. You can't legislate for losing 3 centre backs.
Yeah.
You can't legislate for deflected goals or whatever. Or
Again, that's far
dodgy
too binary
offside.
of a question.
But do you
Ultimately, no, because we lost the game.
Right, okay.
But if Garnacho is 3 inches further back, then would you say ultimately yes?
No, not necessarily.
So no, all right. Then fair enough. You don't think his tactics was right? It's
Look,
fair enough.
were there opportunities to win the game? Yeah.
Right.
But ultimately didn't win the game. So I don't like the phrasing of the question, is what it is.
Okay. All right, well,
it's
all
a
right,
weird question to because it is a yes or no.
All right. Let's not make it what
do you think Ten
what do you
Hag
make
got right?
of his?
What
or
did you get right?
Yeah.
And we'll get into what he got wrong as well.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think it's really difficult to put my finger on things that was definitely right and things that were definitely wrong. Like, and then things that were definitely right and things that were definitely wrong, and then which bits get attributed to him and which get attributed to players.
Okay, well,
like, is it his fault that Eriksen has lost his man on the edge of the box? No. Is it his benefit for Eriksen spotting the run of Marcus Rashford and playing that ball in between the lines? No. So it's like everything can't be good and bad attributed to managers alone. There has to be players' culpability in this.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have brought Maguire on.
Okay.
I would have brought Reguilon on. We can't go back in time to find out if that had been a horrendous decision.
What, and put
Or a better
Dallo
one.
at centre-back?
No.
Reguilon at centre back.
Reguilon's the same build, profile, everything as Martinez. This is as close to Martinez as you've got on the bench. Certainly Harry Maguire isn't. Yeah. United changed our tactics when Harry Maguire came on. As soon as he came on, they went, we're not playing out from the back anymore. Up your fucking boat.
Yeah,
like,
but then you could argue that United's chance to win the game happened when Maguire and Johnny Evans were on the pitch. So I'm not saying...
But did it happen because they were on the pitch, or did it happen...
No, but what I mean is, we weren't destined to lose the game just because Harry Maguire was on.
No, they weren't.
I don't think.
But then, again, so which bits get attributed to them?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
The decision to bring him on over Reguilon,
yeah.
Obviously it makes more sense to bring a centre-half on, but if you if you didn't want to fundamentally change the way you were playing, maybe you could have adapted something else. Like I'm not in the blame game of like someone has to get the credit for everything and someone has to get the blame for every single thing.
Yeah.
It is a team effort. It's the players, it's the coaching staff, and it's not just Ten Hag. You know, Steve McLaren's fucking earning a wage out there as well. Ramsey's still earning a wage out there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people involved in making these things happen. It probably would have been a group decision on which substitutes came on. I didn't like that decision.
Right.
That's probably attributed to Ten Hag. But like I said, was Christian Eriksen's fucking amazing through ball to Ten Hag? Was that his? Was Marcus's dancing along the edge of the byline? Ten Hag's doing like no. There has to be some of the players get the credit and blame in equal portions as well. And the fact that we were in the game, I think says as much about Arsenal as us. Because I thought they were shite. They've been shite all season, as have we. But I think the
doesn't bode well, does it, for this title?
I think the only thing I can say with any sort of definitive from yesterday is we're both fucking miles off Manchester City.
That's what I'm on about. Yeah, and
it's the only thing I'm sure of.
Yeah, I mean the Scousers have done okay so far this season, but I can see it being a procession already. Yeah, I genuinely can. I take no pleasure in saying that at all. What do you make of Onana today? I think me and you touched on it yesterday because there's a bit of a debate going on about whether he was at fault for Arsenal's second goal, whether he should have done better. I've personally just set my stall out. I think he's unlucky because I think the deflection takes it away from him, and he would have had it covered.
Deflection, what, 4 yard out?
Yeah, I mean, come on. For me,
you're getting done at your near post. That's not really a good thing. Could he have been over in the post? Was he going? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. There's a discussion. There's a massive pro De Gea fan base within the fan base. That's always going to look negatively at Onana for whatever reasons, because he's not David De Gea. I mean, I saw something the other day where someone was like, "I can't believe you compared his goalkeeper to De Gea." I didn't. So it's better. Because it's better. And then you've got his ball playing ability. Like
his ball playing ability is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, just on that, so there was a graphic that came up at the start of the second half that said most passes by a single team in their own half in a game this season, and the top three below United's were throughout a whole 90 minutes, and it was like 139, and then we had like 193 in our own half in 45 minutes. So we'd just taken the lead already this season.
That's the real quiz.
And they were framing it as, and rightfully so on one hand, as United's inability to get the ball out of our half, which I think is a fair criticism. We need to be able to work through the lines better, get the front three involved more. That makes sense. But to me, when I look at that and when I see how United have been at playing out the ball in the last 3 to 5 to 10 years or whatever, I think the fact that we can turn this inability to get the ball to our front three and still only concede one goal, or at that point I don't think they've conceded when we first started doing that in the first 20 minutes. That's a testament to how good Onana is with the ball at his feet, that he can stop them creating chances despite the fact that we can't get our front three into the game. I think that's a massive positive that we got from Onana against Arsenal. I thought he was fantastic with the ball at his feet.
I thought he did well, Onana, and I thought he was great with his ball at the feet. And I also think this whole narrative is just so ridiculous that I'm seeing today of like how Arteta is smashing it and United are floundering and all this. Arteta's been there far longer. We lost 4 centre-backs and still gave him a game and perhaps
Martial,
should have won it.
Like playing with 10 men.
Exactly. And it's like this thing of like, oh, look, Arteta's doing a great job and Erik Ten Hag's having a difficult time of it. And I'm thinking, really?
They had 2 strikers on the pitch. Both have been getting, one's just made it back into the England squad. One was fucking tossed off to oblivion last season in Jesus and Nketiah, right? So that's pretty much 2 strikers more than we've had.
Yeah.
We've got Rashford on the left, but you've got a guy that's just being absolutely criticised to hell on the right-hand side. We have got, what's the backup? Palestri?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, again, Arsenal, like people were doing combined 11s where Martinelli and Saka both go in.
Yeah.
I saw combined 11s where they were just Arsenal.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
What?
And you mean like most of them didn't have Havertz in to be Havertz in to be fair to them, but like otherwise, everyone tells you Odegaard's better than Bruno. They're talking up Declan Rice as being better than Casemiro. Lol. Even Thomas Partey was getting put in there over. Like literally, I've seen combined 11s that were just Arsenal, and then you think, okay, so why did this United team with 10 men and then no defence.
10 men.
I love that. You know, like...
What did he do?
Yeah.
What did he do?
No, nothing.
No, and I was watching it, and I'm someone that has liked things that Martial's done in the past, but you watch him play, and he looks like a bloke who used to be good at football 20 years ago.
It's sad to see.
Can't really turn anymore. He's worried to push off because his ankle or his calf or his knee, or like he just looks scared to use his body.
He just played it back every time he got it as well.
Yeah, he's just scared, and he's lost a yard of pace seemingly, or he's unwilling to push himself to sprint because he's scared something's going to twang. Like he just looks like a bloke who's scared of playing football, really. And then you see Hojlund come on, who I thought was one of the bright sparks. Like I think since Lukaku's first season, basically, is the last time we've had a player that's physically able and mentally willing to get stuck in. Like Cavani would get stuck in, but he ain't got that size and the speed. Ronaldo didn't do it, you know.
That was 7 years ago.
And you've seen someone who's
Time
actually
flies when having fun.
pushing Gabriel out the way and elbowing and driving his shoulder into Gabriel's chest and like actually being a hard, difficult centre forward, and it made so much difference straight away. We're playing balls long, and obviously we don't want to have to do that, and Maguire and Evans maybe forced us into it, but we could get some success from it. And you saw Bruno Fernandes streaming in straight after, picking up those second balls after Hojlund's made it difficult. That's something we couldn't do even just minutes before with Martial on the pitch. He was at least some signs of positivity.
So many times I was looking at Martial and I was going, I can't believe I'm focusing on him, but I can't not focus on him.
Yeah.
Because there was a little bit of a rotation. I wouldn't call it a press, but United was sort of picking men up.
Yeah.
And Martial had ball watched, and who was it? I think Declan Rice had come round the back of him and was stood there for about 5 seconds and I'm going, have a look.
Yeah.
Have a look. Don't have a look then. And then they pass it to Rice, and then they get out because he just stood ball watching. He would basically mark the ref.
Yeah.
Ref's not on ours. Well, he's not on theirs either, but he's not on ours.
Yeah, I think Ronnie, who was on the watch along with us, he was pointing it out. He was saying about Martial's, when it comes to the press or sort of where he needs to be, he just looks lost. He doesn't seem to know, or he doesn't seem willing to go where he needs to go. And like you, Joe, you know, there's been many great moments from Anthony Martial, but we can't live in the past with some of these players. To a lesser extent, we did it with De Gea, where it was like, oh, look at everything he's done for us, and look how great he's been over the years, and da-da-da. And his levels were a lot better, I think, than Martial's are now. Yeah. And you can't go, oh, well, Martial, look at that goal he got against the Scousers, on his debut. Look at what he did against Everton 6 years ago.
What he did in 2017.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not trying to mock him, but you can't live like that. No. City don't. No. City sees Sterling drop 20-odd goals this season, go, we don't need you anymore, off you pop. Yeah. Zinchenko's had a great season, we don't need you, you can do one. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Gundogan, off you don't need you, sound.
Cancelo was the best fullback in Europe.
Yeah.
And at the time they binned him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And while we're going, would you remember when Martial used to do really good things? Like when he got 23 goals in a season. When was that? 2021.
I don't worry about it. That was a while ago.
Yeah. It's like you can't do that. 2020. Sorry. Yeah. Like you can't carry on like that. And I know it needs. I'm not blaming the manager because he's not been given the funds he needs to go out and get 2 strikers, which is what we should have done. So he's got to do what he can. But yeah, it's sad to see, and I don't think, and you know, we've seen stranger things happen than Martial turning his career around at United. I just don't see it happening. I thought he was poor against Forest, and I thought he was poor against Arsenal, and you think the managers must look at him and go, why am I bothering? I know he's bothering now because he hasn't got any other choices, but now Hojlund's in, I'm guessing that's going to change.
Yeah,
I would hope so. I agree with you. I thought Hojlund was a massive positive off the bench. I liked his physicality. I liked his eagerness to press. He was really unlucky with the little back heel flick that he had from Rashford. Yeah. Imagine he'd have put that away.
This podcast is shirtless if he puts that away, isn't it?
Just
another thing.
We've gone shirtless for less.
We saw the
Ronnie broke the chair, by the way, on the equaliser.
Yeah, that's around the corner.
That's your tackle, that, isn't it? Eh?
Taught him well.
With Hojlund as well, there was that penalty claim.
Fucking quid a piece, them chairs, Ronnie.
The penalty claim that at first, from the wide angle, looked to me like he sort of half slipped and half just got blocked.
Yeah, from the wide angle, I was like,
yeah. And then we've got an image, I think, of Gabriel on Hojlund here, and we saw this angle. I didn't see this angle on the live broadcast.
Nope.
I saw this angle the day after. Look, you can see on the right there, his arm is completely wrapped around Hojlund. That's Gabriel's hand, you can see there.
Yeah, that is
his
a foul,
arm is completely wrapped around him. That's surely a foul.
This is Gabriel's hand.
Yeah. Right. That's like, you can't not go for the ball, grab someone's whole body, dragged them to the ground, and you don't see it from those pictures either, but like shoved his arse into him whilst he was pulling him the other way.
Yeah.
If that's anywhere else on the pitch, that's a foul immediately.
Yeah, when I saw the replays of it today, I was like, yeah.
Why didn't they check it?
And then explain to me how what Saka did was any less aggressive or violent than what Casemiro did when he accidentally kicked that guy's shin and got
Well, I'll tell you what's different about those two things. The only thing that's different is that Casemiro got the ball first.
Yeah.
Like, at least Casemiro had the courtesy of winning the ball and then going into someone's shin.
well, Joe, the ball is behind Saka, so how do you expect him to win it?
I know.
There's just no consistency, is there? There's no consistency.
And
it just seems like they're making up as they go along.
And they get sucked into these storylines of what players are like. Like, if that's Casemiro
To be fair, Bruno was pissing me off going down all the time, but he might have also been legitimately getting kicked.
Yeah,
I don't think he dived at any
that
point.
one he definitely was. But if that's Casemiro or a Fellaini, or and to be fair, a Granit Xhaka or someone like that who has got a reputation for being a knob and getting sent off, or a Sergio Ramos or whatever,
Oh, they'd probably go.
they'd probably go for that.
And the thing is, if he'd have got a red for that, if they'd have gone, it's a red.
Yeah.
I don't think loads of people go, that's a ridiculous decision.
No,
I
and
think people go, okay, in this day and age, that's what's going to
To
happen.
be fair,
so
I
stop
don't
that.
think he should have been sent off.
No.
But I know for a fact that the fact that no one even spoke about it, oh, he's a bit late there, but, you know, it's Saka, he's a nice lad. Like, because it's like the same...
He studs her up and he's got
Yeah, exactly. Certain players just get away with things. Like Juan Mata, if he did that, it's probably not a red card either, because the assumption is he's not trying to hurt
Do you remember the
someone.
one at Chelsea with Mata?
Yeah.
Where he absolutely got away with it because he was one Mata.
Yeah.
It was like, that's a blatant red
But when
card.
it's Rooney, you're off.
And he just got away with it. It's only little one Mata. And he's back at his old club. He
Yeah.
wouldn't do that. He thought, you're right, he would.
Yeah, and it was just one of those where, once again, and you know, people always say these things even themselves out, but sometimes it's not within the season. Sometimes it takes 10 years. for these
Sometimes
things
they
to
don't.
even out, or they just never do.
Paul Scholes' goal against Porto never evened itself out.
No.
Ever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That got Jose Mourinho his job when he went to Chelsea and won a load of titles.
Yeah.
So it's a load of nonsense like that evens itself out, and especially with Manchester United, it doesn't.
No, and it's just like, you can't say that the Onana foul that wasn't given against Wolves didn't play a role in us not getting that penalty against Tottenham. And for me, the fact that Forest, made their sort of complaints to the FA may well have had an effect on the fact that Hojlund didn't get that penalty. And
was it Klopp who went about was getting penalties that time, and then we get a penalty again for next
about 3 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's like, United always get penalties, and we've got about like 2 penalties since.
Yeah, it became this sort of talking point, and the refs obviously see that and hear that and become swayed by that. Of course they do, because they're humans. People like to think that refs have been trained into being like SAS soldiers where they don't need to sleep and they can be in -10 for a week. But they're just blokes who get paid a good wage but they still don't want to get a bollocking and be the front page of the newspapers.
With Andy Taylor, because he's from Wally, there's always that thing in there of like him being accused of being a United fan.
Yeah.
Liverpool fans have done a serious nerdy deep dive onto him and tried to, like, there was one with like how frequent his cards are in Liverpool games versus others, and also, honestly,
Are you implying that the Scousers have gone deep into something on Twitter or whatever? They never do that. They never go after people on social media. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What are the comments saying?
Yeah, we've got some comments, of course. Alex Bailey says, former United players blowing everything out of proportion doesn't help. Gooners already blow things up without anyone else. Trust Ten Hag. Yeah, the whole Ten Hag thing being called into question, I know this is going to sound mad, but and as far as my conscious brain is aware, I don't think I'm saying this because I'm delusional. I honestly feel like more optimistic after that game than I did after the Wolves win. Because I thought the Wolves win was a game where we were horrendous.
Yeah.
The other team was by far the better team, and we won.
I
thought the game against Arsenal was pretty even.
I just feel with Ten
we had
Hag,
some good moments.
What are we saying here? Are we saying he's not the right man for the job? Are we saying he doesn't know what he's doing? Are we like, yes, there's question marks about his away record, but I still feel 100% confident in Erik Ten Hag. And you don't have to look across that dugout. Look at the run Arteta had 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Like, if you were managing Bournemouth, you'd have been sacked.
Yeah.
And he kept his job because he was doing something long term. And there's a touch of that with Erik Ten Hag. You can see, okay, he's made signings and big signings and signings where they're near the end of the career. But he's also got younger players as well. And he's also trying to sort of still manage the mess he inherited. I know you're going to get into the Sancho thing in a minute.
Yeah.
But Erik Ten Hag inherited a team that was 6 with a absolute bucket load of players on massive contracts, none of whom were good enough for challenging for the Champions League places, let alone playing for Manchester United. And you'd like to think we had bigger aspirations than that. And he's had to sort that out whilst getting us into the Champions League and winning a trophy.
Yeah.
So I think like this idea that he's not the right man for the job, which I've heard mutterings about from some in the media, is utter nonsense.
Yeah.
Like,
we already know when it's United, it's headline news, and that's the problem. Is like you can't just have a player like Onana.
No.
Fucking Joel did it with us this week, and he was like, let's talk about Onana. And it's like, I am bored of your fucking narrative that you're trying to force here.
Yeah.
Every single thing that happens with Onana is a massive fucking drama.
Yeah.
What
was his point?
There wasn't a point.
Goal?
He hasn't got a point.
No.
Do you know what nearly sent me over the edge? When after the game, I saw Peter Schmeichel weighing in on it, criticising Onana. I thought, you can fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
But for starters as
well,
well,
you just don't like Peter Schmeichel.
Well, he should be happy that City won anyway, so I don't know what he's piping up for.
Peter Schmeichel had clangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was a fucking great goalkeeper, as much as Jay isn't going to admit it.
Yeah.
He was a great
Had
goalkeeper.
some great games for City.
Arguably the second best goalkeeper United have seen. Right? Yeah. I'm going to be real. Jay's going to put him in about 11th.
Yeah.
He does what I do with John Terry.
If you think Peter Schmeichel's better than Les Sealy, me and you need to have a chat.
Right. He's only behind Van der Sar, and a lot of people will go, no, he fucking isn't. But for me, he is, because I like the calmness. But Schmeichel was a little bit showy with it. But there was some mad clangers where he basically threw it in his own net sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was massively outweighed by the fact that he would fucking dive at people with that big starfish thing.
Yeah.
By the way, that Schmeichel was different in the way Onana's different in terms of Schmeichel would start attacks because the silly bastard could throw it over the halfway line.
60 yards.
Just roll that round your fucking napper a bit.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it since Schmeichel retired. There hasn't been a goalkeeper fucking palm it over a fucking halfway line.
Massive 200 kilogram bastard who could throw the ball the whole length of the pitch.
Just fucking Ryan Giggs, get on that bastard.
My favourite one was when we went to a testimonial. I think it was Busby Testimonial United too. He had a few, Matt Busby, rightly so. And it was Danny Wallace who he threw it to. And he threw it right over Danny Wallace's head. And everyone was like, what the fuck is that? And do you know what I mean? You see little Danny Wallace trying to get his head on it, and he's literally just launched it the entire length of the pitch. I've never seen anything like that. Honestly, you're right, it's mad. But Onana, for playing out the back, it's like night and day between him and De Gea.
And also, it's this thing of like, we're already having to have this conversation where people are going, well, is it worth the what you're losing here?
Yeah.
What are we losing?
Yeah, you're not losing anything.
What are we losing? Yeah. So Onana couldn't adjust to the fact that a shot that was hit pretty much as hard as Declan Rice could swing his foot in that moment was deflected 5 yards off the goal line, and he only managed to get half a hand to it because the ball was deflected. Like, what's he meant to have? Lightning speed reactions where even if the ball isn't going the same direction it was as half a second ago, he's meant to be able to adjust to that. It's like unless he saves every possible shot, he's not as good as De Gea, because De Gea was perfect at shot stopping. It's just shit. And this narrative existed before he ever played for United. It was, well, you've lost this, but you've gained this. Is it worth it? I haven't seen, really, a case that we've lost anything in terms of shot stopping.
This time last season, wasn't long, was it Brentford, where David De Gea was coming out after the game and admitting it cost us the game. I bet he's probably been a bit harsh on himself because there was more to it than just him. But he had an absolute stinker.
Yeah.
There was games where, this time last season, the same fans that are now going on about how great David De Gea was wanted him gone.
Yeah.
There's a group of fans that have decided that anyone that's not playing for United is the answer to why United aren't winning 5-0 every single week. Like, I guarantee if Donny van de Beek would have played yesterday, we'd have won 5-0. I guarantee if David De Gea would have played yesterday, we'd have won 5-0. I guarantee if Tony Martial would have played yesterday, we'd have won 5-0. It's the same every fucking time.
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
There's some people going to be like, Martial did play. Yeah, you dick.
Yeah. But just like that, those first 25 minutes where Onana made like 25 passes or whatever, and we kept the ball at times away from Arsenal. I think if that was a keeper, and I'm not even going to make it a De Gea thing, if that was a keeper who wasn't great at playing out from the back and wasn't composed on the ball, we could easily have been 2-3-0 down in those first 30 minutes, as we've seen at the Emirates in the past in recent seasons, where they just blitz you and your keeper flails and they give the ball away and you've conceded a goal, and that can just happen over and over again. And the fact that we managed to avoid that is a testament to how good Onana is, not something to criticise him for. Like, he can't play it out from the back and then play it into the strikers and then cross it in and then head it in himself.
Right? Wait and see if he goes to AFCON in January, whenever it is. and we have the young kid who, or whoever it is, we bought by and day, and then
we'll get De Gea on an emergency.
Watch how many people are going.
He's not got a fucking club yet.
We need Onana. We need Onana back. We're missing Onana.
I thought he was fantastic yesterday. Yeah. Genuinely, I thought him playing out from the back was the difference between us being
I just love his confidence. I just love how he carries himself.
Yeah.
It looked like the Arsenal players didn't know what to do. You know, when he's carrying it out, they looked a bit like...
There was one bit...
Like, it was on Nketiah was like that, what do we do here?
Yeah, there was one moment in particular that I just thought that is like, he's not just someone who can clip a pass well. So he had the ball on like the 18-yard line, and Lindelof was... Arsenal had left him as the free man because they wanted Onana to pass to him and then they would go after him. And so they had someone on Wan-Bissaka, someone on Dalot, someone on this, and Onana just stood there with the ball for so long that I think it was Nketiah on the left had to push to Lindelof and try and close Onana down. And when he did, he just passed it to Wan-Bissaka. And I thought, it's the smartness to see.
Composure.
Yeah, and the composure. Not just can he pass it, but he can draw players in and then whip it round him. I thought, there's an intelligence there as well. It's not just, we can pass 40
Me and Ronnie
yards.
was talking this morning about the little schnurk that he was doing with Martinez. They were pressing with a 2.
Yeah.
When you press with a 2, there's obviously space wide. So you see Martinez go wide. He's out of the game when the press angles towards him and then into the keeper. But if he just goes round the back,
yeah.
And I was thinking, I didn't see enough of them at Ajax together to know if that was something that they did at Ajax or if they just came up with that on the fly, like, I'll just fucking go around the back and receive it from you. And I was like, I fucking love that.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Like, can you imagine any other goalkeeper while a forward's pressing him and he's on the edge of his 6-yard box and he's just so cool to just go,
Mate, it was meant. There was one when he walked.
Yeah.
He was getting like the people, and he's just walking with it. It was like we were 5-0 up in a testimonial. He didn't care.
There was times last season. Do you remember this one? Who was it? Fucking, I want to say Norwich. Did we play Norwich last year?
Were they in the Premier League last
we
season?
played.
I don't think so.
Maybe it wasn't last year.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't because Aaron Maguire was playing, so it probably wasn't.
Okay.
Where there was Aaron Maguire, who never wants the ball, by the way, is screaming away with the ball. It's gone back to De Gea, and De Gea's put it out same side, short side, just for a throw-in.
Yeah.
And he had hours.
Yeah.
And Maguire was the pass, although he didn't want it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Do you remember the clip?
I don't remember. It's Old Trafford.
Was it Norwich?
I'm thinking it's Norwich where, because Ronnie was it 3-2 that game with Ronnie getting a hat trick?
Got thumbs up behind the camera.
Yeah.
Idiot's mine, so it could be anything.
I mean, it might have been Sheffield Wednesday in '93. But no, I remember that, and that happened at Brentford. Similar thing at Brentford, where there was that lack of confidence with De Gea and not being able to pass it to certain people, or not being able to
just fucking
turn.
Rose edit.
Yeah, he's just like, just giving away possession, and we saw it in the FA Cup final. I don't want to keep going on about because obviously it's minging, but the amount of times we lost possession because he just got booted out needlessly. Yeah. And then obviously City have got the ball then, and you're up against it, so it makes a difference. And we've got to remember that this is his 4th Premier League game.
Yeah,
he's coming into it, he's getting used to it. The defenders are getting used to him, the team's getting used to him. It's a completely different animal. So I like him. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him, to be honest with you. And I said before the season, I think he could be a massive sign for United.
Yeah, me too.
Nothing's made me change my mind so far on that.
No, I'm absolutely certain he's going to be a big player for us in the future, and this season I don't really see an issue with anything really. I mean, there was one at Tottenham that was a little bit against him. Didn't that take a deflection as well?
Jesus wept. I'm trying to remember the Spurs goals now. I can't even think.
One was at roof of the net, sort of player firing in at the last second.
There was one front post,
and then one at the front post. I think that was deflected. Yeah, no, it was an own goal. One, it was Martinez.
Right, yeah.
Tapped it in. It wasn't even
he's
going in.
He's already done enough for me to be our second best keeper ever behind Van der Sar.
Let's move on to Sancho then, because this was like just when you thought we'd had a shit day.
I didn't have this one coming on Man United bingo.
Our highest paid player is now kicking off with the manager publicly. So let's go through this. And
what a fucking weekend!
I know.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And you lot don't know half of it.
We'll go through.
I might show the video to my patrons.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not doing, you want to go and check that out.
We'll go through the Sancho stuff. So Sancho wasn't even on the bench against Arsenal.
Which is mint, isn't it, by the way? Yeah. When we're paying someone 375k a week and he cost us 73 million quid, to not even be on the bench in the biggest game of the season is mustard.
So he was asked why he didn't put Sancho in the squad. He said, Jadon, on his performance in training, we didn't select him. So that was it. And then he said, you have to reach that level every day at United. We can make choices in the front line. So for this game, he was not selected. Which to me is about as soft a way as you can say, we didn't pick him because his performances weren't right. He didn't dwell on it. He didn't say this isn't the first time. He didn't say there'll be punishments. He just said, you have to reach that level every day and we can make choices in the front line. Almost saying, we've got some options, so it's not even that big. Like, we didn't pick him because his performances in training. That's what he said, right? And then in response to that, I believe around an hour and a half later, so, still the same day, he's not had a chance to sort of think, maybe a slightly rash decision, we could say. Jadon Sancho comes back and posts a social media image of the text saying, please don't believe everything you read. I will not allow people to say things that is completely untrue. I have conducted myself in training very well this week. I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I won't go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. All I want to do is play football with a smile on my face and contribute to my team. I respect all the decisions that are made by the coaching staff. I play with fantastic players and grateful to do so, which I know every week is a challenge. I will continue to fight for the badge no matter what. So the second paragraph there is sort of like, back to kind of media training speak.
Yeah, he's saying nothing.
No, the first one is the one. I won't allow people to say things that are completely untrue. I've conducted myself in training very well this week, which is in direct opposition to what Ten Hag said.
Well, he says, don't believe everything you read. Well, no one read it, right? It was from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
This wasn't like in a formerly great local newspaper, now just reputable online blog, where it said there are talks that the manager isn't happy with Sancho. That wasn't the case. No. It was the manager going, yeah, I didn't like his training, so I fucked him off. Yeah. Now, you haven't just put in a 4 or 5 out of 10 in training or a 3 out of 10 in training and been fucking rocketed. You can lose your place in the starting 11. You can not be elevated from the bench to the starting 11 on the back of a poor training performance. But for you to be like, nah, sit the fuck out when we needed you, like, that suggests to me more than meets the eye. And here's the thing, they both can't be right.
Yeah.
Also, as well, I think if you look at that starting 11, if you look at that team, and you think options from the bench, if Sancho had been there, I don't know if he gets off the bench. I don't know if you go in, bring him on to change this game. I think you go in, bring Garnacho and Hojlund on.
Yeah.
I do.
Certainly Hojlund.
I mean, and I think Garnacho comes off the bench ahead of Sancho. I do. I think he's, as an impact player, he's got more about him.
Yeah.
I really do. So, I've said this as soon as he bought Hojlund. You see Marcus going back on that left-hand side. He's not getting dropped, and Hojlund eventually will start. So it's only the right-hand side, really, where Jadon Sancho's going to go. Yeah. And that's not his natural position anyway. I know he can play there. So, I think he's already in a bit of trouble in terms of keeping his place in the team or even getting into the team.
But he's been in that same bit of trouble since he arrived, hasn't he, Sancho? Like, he's never been first name on the team sheet. He's had spells where he's played 7 or 8 games in a row, but he's almost always brought off as a sub. Like, we'll get into the details of it a bit more.
Do you know what, Joe? When Marcus Rashford made his debut, Anthony Martial was the left forward that we had.
Yeah.
And down the middle we had Zlatan, Rooney.
Yeah, well, it would have been that 2015-16 season.
Then we bring in fucking Lukaku, Alexis Sanchez, Ronaldo, Cavani, a myriad of other players, and guess what? Marcus just keeps working and just gets his minutes, right? That's how it works at top-end football teams. You don't get given a spot. You have to go and take a spot. Now, Sancho's opportunity was the fact he was bought for £73 million and he had a handful of amazing, genuinely amazing, just below Messi level seasons at Dortmund, right? But since he's come to Manchester, there hasn't been a 4, 5, 6 week period where he's hit a hot streak back to back to back to back, right? It hasn't happened. As much as I'd love to sit here and say it did, the first job for you as a player is to be fucking undeniable. Yeah. Because if he's pulling it up in training, if he's every time he steps out onto the training pitch for fucking absolutely tuning up our defence, do you think he's going to bench him?
Yeah.
No, it was the same with all the Donny van der Beek arguments. Like, I spoke to a first team player, and this was 2 seasons ago, and I said, "How's Marcus look?" Because Marcus just come back from his injury. I said, "How's he look?" He's like razor sharp, and he actually wasn't, but he said he looks razor sharp. And I said, "How's Donny van der Beek look?" And he went, "He's a nice lad."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? But that tells you, what's going on. Like, why isn't he playing? Because he's a fucking nice lad. Yeah. Not, oh my God, you want to see the shit that little fucker pulls out.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it needs to be. People need to be... if you're smashing it in training, you play. There's the manager is only there trying to figure out which of you 11 fuckers is going to get him 3 points on Saturday. He's not here to make friends. He's not here because he's like got boxes to tick. Which of these lot here that I've got can get me a win this week, next week, and a week after? And if you're walking onto that training pitch and going, fucking check this out, and delivering every single day in training, then you play. There's no two ways around it. That's it.
I agree, bro. I do. It's like people that think Erik Ten Hag doesn't want to win. Of course he does. Like you say, he's not got a dog in the fight. He just wants to win the football match. Like the same thing with Van der Beek. I used to hear this argument with people all the time. Ollie's got an agenda. Ollie don't pick him. Ollie don't. If Ollie thought he'd win the game, he'd play him.
Yeah.
But he just didn't.
No. And I just the Sancho thing. I just think, just in any job, but especially as a footballer, where you're someone that has got 2.2 million followers and a lot more people than that who will see any given tweet if it goes viral or whatever. To put this out publicly, and like you said, the way he says, please don't believe everything you read, he's not responding to rumours. He's responding to the manager's comments. And to publicly, literally say, I have conducted myself in training very well this week, he is calling the manager a liar. He is. Like, whether he's saying Ten Hag is a liar or not, you are denying the comments of the manager.
You make a good point, like with Marcus. Like, Marcus could have spat his dummy out against Wolves last season. He said, I'm your top scorer. Yeah, I'm late for a meeting. But, bro, I'm carrying this team. What are you on about? I've been late for one meeting and you're dropping me. Are you having a laugh?
Because there might have even been a seemingly good reason.
Yeah,
could have
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, he could have.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he should have. He could have spat. But what did he do? He sat on the bench. He came off the bench. He scored. And he said after his post-match interview, I knew the rules. I broke them. Everyone's got the same rules. It was the right decision by the manager. I get it.
Yeah. I won't do it again.
Yeah, and he hasn't. I presume he hasn't.
No.
Like, that's a response of someone who, whether you rate Marcus Rashford or not, he gives a toss about it. He tries his best. He tries to be the best player he can be for Manchester United, and I think he gets pretty good change out of his talents. Yeah. When you look at the goals and assists that he's given us over the years. With Sancho, he has got that talent, but like Steve said, I still feel like I'm waiting to see it. I'm waiting to see the player I saw at Dortmund, and also, Erik Ten Hag's not the first manager who's not rated him or had an issue with him. We heard when we spoke to, was it Patrick Berger or Florian Pettenberg, how he'd had a couple of incidents at Dortmund where he'd not turned up for training or he'd been late for training and he'd been criticised and he'd been
People point to the one at City, but the one at City I think there was a little bit of justification with.
Wasn't he about 12 then anyway? Whatever.
No, I think it was when he was 17 and I think he'd gone and asked for first team football because he thought he was ready. And obviously this renowned coach for playing youngsters in, I think he's called Josep Guardiola, said he wasn't going to because he'd rather spend 100 million on 3 more wingers instead. He decided not to play this homegrown youngster that City had, allowed him to go to Dortmund where he had 3 seasons being about as good goals and assists as anybody in the world has ever been. Yeah. And I think he was right to... You've got to back yourself at times, and there is a way to do it. City fans are always going to back the manager because he can never do any wrong. Even when he was taking drugs in Italy, he was never doing any wrong. He don't do wrong. So I don't know what point I'm making. But anyway, so
you just wanted to get that in, didn't you?
They were always going to back Pep over the player, especially when that player ends up with Manchester United. Then that was definitely the right decision.
And also that player who, whilst he was very, very tight as a youngster, isn't Messi. This isn't like, if he goes, we're never going to win anything. No. Do you know what I mean? Which is kind of the problem Jadon Sancho's got now as well. He's probably one of the most expendable players in that squad. Yeah, because he's not,
also one of those sellable with a value.
He's not really done enough where you go, we can't afford to lose him. This manager didn't buy him, so it's not like it's an anti scenario where I spent a load of money on him, but it's already we fell out and the wheels are coming off. He doesn't owe him anything, and I think like Steve's saying there, you've not had that even 4 or 5 weeks consistently, let alone 4 or 5 months, and his numbers are okay-ish. Yeah. But then, like you saying, I know the Bundesliga is different, but his numbers at Dortmund were fantastic. Yeah. And at United, we just seem to see these like 5 or 10 minute spells from Sancho, and then not much other than that. And I feel as well, the way we're playing a lot of the time, you've got fast players. You've got players who can absolutely step on the gas when they need to. And he sometimes gets a little bit left behind. And this manager, I think, has tried to make different things work with him. He's tried him in a false 9. He tried giving him a break for 2 months or whatever it was when he had
3
issues.
months,
3 months, sorry. We don't know what those issues were. There's rumours it was mental health. I get it. I'm not against that. But my point is the manager's tried to help him and go, look, you go away, get yourself right, come back, and there'll be a place here for you.
Well, I think we spoke about it on pre-season where I said, I think Jadon's in a bit of a quandary here because he's come on and done well in a position we know he's not going to play in. He's not advanced himself in a position where he's probably going to play on pre-season.
Because the best he looked was in the centre where Bruno was going to play. And the problem is, like, I understand I mean, I don't understand it on this level, but I understand the general idea of you feeling like you're being treated unfairly or that you're trying to do the best you can and someone else is being picked over you. But the thing with Jadon Sancho is, you just don't come out and call the manager a liar and say, not only did I do well in training, there's another reason for this which I can't tell you, but trust me, there's a reason I'm not being picked and it's not because of my training. Essentially inferring that there's either some favouritism or he doesn't like you for some reason or whatever.
There's a report in there, and I don't know how true it is because
They borrowed his lawnmower and ain't brought it back, and that's why he's dropped it.
he's seen his ass from me because of that. Do you know what I mean?
I just wanted a strimmer, mate.
Oh, honestly. But there's reports that he's said that he's baffled by the way Anthony keeps getting in the team and he doesn't.
Yeah.
Not the only one.
But the thing is, I get it. I understand that, and Anthony's not been good enough. But then also, he's your manager. He is not he's your boss.
Yeah.
Ten Hag is your boss.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a case of you get to criticise him and he gets to criticise you and it's 50-50. It's not 50-50. He decides and you don't. And I just think the idea of bringing it up online, maybe say, you know, I'm so disappointed not to play. I thought I was great in training. I thought I tried my best in training, but obviously there's more I need to do. I'll prove it. Like, say that. But this whole...
That would have been so much better to say. Maybe something along the lines of, I take on board the manager's comments today. While I disagree, I'm not going to kick up a fuss. I'm going to work even harder and make sure I get back in the team. And there's no dramas. But when you go, nah, he's full of shit, mate, basically.
And there's other things going on that you don't know about, which just makes it a lot worse.
Yeah, and again, I don't want it to be this thing of like slandering Jadon Sancho because I think there's such a good player in there and we've seen him have such brilliant seasons. But there have been issues, like you said, in the past of reports in Build talked of him turning up late for training or missing training before a game against Barcelona. There was Emre Can came out and spoke about him getting a haircut during lockdown and things that aren't, you know, some big thing. He's not a bad kid or anything like that, but like just little bits where there is ammunition for people who want to paint this picture of him. And you think, just avoid it. Just avoid it.
It's fucking Ronaldo's, mate. It makes total fucking sense.
That says it all. That's my favourite. That's my favourite pre-season. It just story. Come and see Ronaldo. You could do. He's asleep.
Well, yeah, there you go.
That just explains the fucking pair of them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When we saw Jadon on pre-season, I'm like, oh, Ronnie's here with us. He knows him, and I'm like, do you want to go see him? And I'm like, yeah, let's go find Ronnie. Meanwhile, Ronnie's asleep.
Yeah, at 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
No, it was like 6:15.
Yeah. Like, what? It just, but I just think like it just is a really, I think, just a bad idea to do that. Unless
is he done? Is he done?
I don't think he necessarily is, because Ten Hag seems to be about sort of punishment and like, right, once the punishment is served, you're back in the team.
I think he might be.
But he might be. He could be.
Because is he training with the Resis now? Or?
I don't know. I'm thinking, well, is he trying to leave? Is he trying to get out?
Well, was that the move?
Yeah,
was that him going,
know.
I've got a flight for Jeddah booked, and I won't mind fucking getting on it?
I don't see Jadon Sancho doing 4D chess off. I'm going to be crap in training, the manager's going to call me out, and then I'm going to respond, and I'm going to get a move to wherever. I just don't see that.
Be the first player to move to Saudi and be on less money than he was at his last club.
Take a pay cut. We'll be the only team. We'll probably sell him for like 50 million. We took a loss on Alex Teller selling him to Saudi, and we'll do it with Jadon Sancho.
I thought they had infinite money. Why are we losing money on players? I just, what's the path then? What's the path that he has to take now to be a success at United? How is that possible?
Get his head down in training.
Yeah.
Get some minutes.
Do we need an apology, or do you think we can brush it?
1,000,000%. You can't not have an apology. Yeah, there's no way this moves forward. This only goes the Cristiano Ronaldo, Piers Morgan route, unless there is an apology. The other thing I can see in my head, was it Rafa Benitez and Steven Gerrard with that shit top he had on after he'd put his transfer request in, got threatened by the gangsters and decided to withdraw his transfer request because he loved the club, not because he was threatened. AKA Pancake, Google it. So
So many
That
words
little,
said there.
that apology.
It's like a Frank Bruno tweet.
It's like, why are we like, why is there a photograph of you and fucking Rafa handshaking in that shit top at training today when you're not training? Like, that's what we need.
Yeah, it's very.
There needs to be a like.
It was like Giggsy and Moyes, wasn't it? When they'd had a row, and then they was like doing all the training ground pictures and them having a laugh together. Well, Moyes laughing and Giggsy just stood there with a face like thunder. Because he obviously didn't want to be there. And the club had told him to. So yeah, maybe it's positive. I think the obvious route here is you got to show up on the pitch, do something on the pitch. 'Cause I don't think the fans are going to go with Jadon Sancho on this. I don't think he's that popular anyway. I think there's a lot of online fans who do like him, back him, and I like him. But I think in the ground especially,
I did see a couple of people on Twitter.
I think there's a
like
lot
actual people who I know as well.
Yeah,
not no one I respect, obviously, but people I know who were like, Ten Hag's got this wrong, very Jose Mourinho about it, and I was like, no, I don't see that.
No. When you actually look at what he said, and if you watch the video, the manner and the tone with which he says it isn't a man like Jose. You could ask him, how do you think the game went today? And he went, I dropped him because he wasn't good enough in training. He's a disgrace. Yeah,
like Jose Mourinho would have gone, he's utter shit. Yeah, I can't believe I inherited him as a player.
He would shoehorn vendettas into questions that weren't even there. Ten Hag is literally responding matter-of-factly. Yeah. I didn't think the levels were in training, so he didn't play.
It was very matter-of-fact, yeah.
It wasn't. Right. It doesn't feel.
It looks worse in print than it does when you watch the footage. When you watch the footage, you think, okay.
Which is maybe that explains Sancho saying, don't believe everything you read. Maybe he read it. Maybe he didn't see the video.
Don't believe everything you read. When it's been transcribed verbatim,
but what I mean is,
then yes, you should believe
it's a quote, Joe.
But what I'm saying is, maybe Jadon Sancho hasn't seen the video. Maybe he's read it.
There's no fucking way. There's no way. There's no way.
It just doesn't make sense to me that.
Every group chat he was in would have been like, the boss has just fucking lit you up, mate.
Has he written that? Reply those things. That's a post.
I don't know.
I think he has.
No, I think he has, and this is
his agency. By
this
the way.
isn't meant to be critical of him, but I think the fact that there's a slightly
where it says is instead of are.
Yeah, where it says people saying things that is completely untrue. Yeah. That makes me think it wasn't written by a team. Which I'm not having to go at him, but I just think it doesn't quite have the smoothness of a
grammatical error
of a PR guru.
Smells like it's genuine.
Yeah.
I mean, he is with MN2S. I don't know who that is.
We'll say. I think you might be right, Steve. I think he could be done.
Yeah, I think he could be done.
I don't think he's got enough.
Just for United's sake, I hope he ain't, because who are we going to play? We've got no players.
Johnny Evans.
Diallo comes back from injury. Palestre.
It's thin though, isn't it?
Garnacho.
Marcus and Garnacho on one side is decent unless Marcus gets injured.
Yeah, Palestre, Diallo, Anthony on the other side is all right.
Yeah.
And it's not like Andy's going anywhere anytime soon.
I know, fuck me. Who knows, that's blowing up every day, isn't it? Like,
oh yeah, I went on Twitter before and I'm seeing all sorts of shit. Yeah, I'm just thinking
again, we're not going to comment on it until we know more or anything's official.
No, but if there is an investigation going on, then it has to be treated the same way that Mason's was, and it needs to be suspended.
Which is great.
Yeah,
and it's right that should happen. I'm not saying it shouldn't. I'm just saying from a purely football point of view.
Fucking nightmare. And what
is going on?
In the midst of waking up Sunday morning to be like, hey, do you like the Glazers were fucking off? Not any fucking more.
I that's the worst.
Strap in, fuckers.
Which it actually is, but still, it's one of those, isn't it? The weekend from hell.
They're staying until they get more billions than we have injured centre backs.
That's there. Because
at the minute it's 5
barometer of
in it. We've only got 5 centre backs injured, and they're only been offered £5 billion.
Fucking Christ!
How is the fact that we've got 7 players injured or whatever as in our defence not the biggest problem?
I don't get
today?
it. That's why I don't get this whole Arteta's doing a great job, Erik Ten Hag's not narrative. But it's like we lost.
You beat Renford rejects.
Yeah, it's like we lost our reserve centre backs during that game. What are you on about? We had to bring in someone who last played in the Premier League for Manchester United 10 years ago. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, we've got some super chats. Let me get through some of these and then we'll get to Wally of the week. Someone said, let's be honest, according to the last 4 performances, none of the boys are doing well in practice. They can't string together 5 passes. But again, that shows how low the bar is. And if he's not standing out in that crowd. And also, they might be doing really well in training. We don't know.
Well, I love the argument. Everyone's rubbish.
Yeah. So how can Sancho be any worse than that? Abhinav Verma
because there's levels of it.
Yeah. Pep calls out KDB, nothing. But how dare Ten Hag do it? Yeah, Pep was calling out. Remember around January last year when it was like, everyone's shit, no one is trying, KDB's not good enough,
Calvin Phillips is fat.
Calvin Phillips is fat.
United fans loved that when he was warming up against us. Even when he called out the fans, he even said the fans are rubbish.
Yeah.
They don't turn up, they don't sing. Like,
right, but the thing is, he's just talking factually. So what the fuck do you want him to do?
I know.
People can't go, that's harsh. He's incredibly accurate, but it's harsh.
But also, because also, like, do you know with like Jose, I know he wasn't United manager at the time, but there's that clip of him saying Rashford will never be a 30-goal season striker.
Yeah.
And then obviously he scored 30 goals last season. Yeah. But he is projecting the rest of a player's career negatively. Yeah. That is criticism.
Yeah.
Saying someone was shit and I was there to see it, that's not overly harsh. No. He's not going...
He didn't say shit, he just said his performance wasn't good enough.
Yeah, his level.
That's such a political way of saying he was shit. Because imagine how bad you've got to be when you're giving out the list and you'd be like, right, okay, what's that kid called again? Dan Gore. Dan Gore got on a bus.
Yeah.
Not you.
No, I know.
Do you think he did the right thing? Ask that question. Do you think as a manager he did the right thing answering it honestly? I don't mean you being honest, which you will be. I mean him.
I
don't know how he doesn't answer that question.
Okay.
Where's Jadon Sancho? Don't know. Isn't an answer.
Unless he just goes fully, he wasn't available for the game. Why not? Injury. Unless he's lying.
He had a knock.
And then
Jadon
Sancho does a tweet saying, I'm not injured.
In his form.
Yeah, exactly.
His form.
In his passing ability.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't know how he gets away with not answering it. If he just goes, I don't know, role play it, ask me about...
Yeah, we saw no Jadon Sancho not even in the squad today. Where is he?
Probably the same place the fucking VAR referee was. Joe, thanks for asking.
Nice.
Like that.
And then you go, are you suggesting that Jadon Sancho didn't give Man United a penalty for the Hojlund incident?
Well, did he give us a penalty?
Now he actually works with VAR. May Amateur said...
in fact, get me a job at United. I'd be mint.
You would. It would last a week, but it'd be a mint week.
What a week.
It would be ace, wouldn't it?
What a beautiful
week. This is a statement from Manchester United. Yeah. It says, fuck the Scousers.
Yeah. Steve,
retweet that. You want engagement? There you fucking go.
Steve be the first Man United employee who was fighting with his own security as they escorted him from the building. I'm going nowhere!
He just gets thrown into the canal when he leaves, like Jazzy Jeff. Just fucking launched out the room.
Security, just get a bill. We're not dealing with this.
I'm a current manager, and this stinks of misalignment between Sancho and Ten Hag. And to be honest, there might be some truth to both sides. I wonder what metrics of success.
There can't be truth to both sides.
Ten Hag has.
There can't be truth to both sides.
No.
Maybe Sancho's been good and bad in training.
Yeah. Burnside is back. Says spent 80 million on Anthony. Really poor off the field problems as well. Won't drop him. Obviously prefers his players. His previous. Sorry, I can't see because the YouTube won't let me show the rest of the comment. There we go. He has previous shared agents too. I mean,
but to be fair to Ten Hag, I think he's shown he'll play whoever he thinks he's good enough to get him a win. He'll play Garnacho, who's come through the academy, who's only a kid, if he thinks that's the best player for him to pick.
Yeah.
He'll play, Marcus down the middle, he'll make moves.
Yeah, he don't play Malacia every week over Luke Shaw just because
he signed Malacia.
Yeah.
Not seen.
No, it's not like he only plays players he's bought.
Well, this season, Eriksen got dropped for Mount. I get it, but he obviously plays him because he thinks he's better, not just because he bought him. And maybe at some point that will happen. But I don't think... The thing is, I don't think Anthony's been great. But I also don't believe that Sancho has been so much obviously better than him that it's unthinkable that he wouldn't start over Anthony. I don't think either of them have been good enough. But at least from Anthony, you know you're going to get tracking back for most of the game. Yes, maybe you could have change things to try and improve on Anthony, but it's not like we've seen more from Garnacho off the bench than we have from Sancho, and he got starts at the start of the season.
Did you see that? Sorry to go down the tangent. Did you see that Lee Sharp interview that he's done recently?
The one under the cosh?
Yeah.
I've seen bits of it.
Really good. But what I love about it is his form's deserted him a little bit, and he was living with his girlfriend, and he said Fergie sent his girlfriend back to Birmingham or Aylesbury, wherever he's from. Literally said, right, you're not living with her anymore. She's getting sent back home.
Well, yeah. I don't think he sent the girlfriend back home.
No, he put him back in digs, so his girlfriend had to move back home.
He removed permission for him to live somewhere. That was the fucking control that Fergie wielded.
Yeah. And then he said Fergie's having a go at him for not being married. And he said, I'm not married because you've moved me out of my missus' house, moved me back into digs, and she's gone back to her.
I also believe there's a fucking brilliant key bit that you're missing here, which if he's not mentioned it in that interview, it was fabrication because he's mentioned it elsewhere. It made him sell his dog.
Oh, I've not seen that bit.
It's the same bit when he's like, kick my girlfriend out, made me sell my dog. I had to move back in digs. He can't take his dog back in digs. I had a dog.
I mean, is that human trafficking? Or
What?
making someone move house against their will and live somewhere they didn't want to live?
Do you want to play for Manchester United? The terms and conditions are you live in digs.
It's great. I'm up for it. If it works,
it's such a good interview that with
that's
Lee
ridiculous.
Sharp.
But see, Lee Sharp has got... He's got a filter, but he's not a big one.
No.
It's quite a poor filter, really.
Yeah. And he's one of them. I remember being with him for the Arsenal game. He doesn't watch football. He was on his phone. He's just not interested.
He's banging to his golfer now,
Yeah,
sitting
loves
it.
it, doesn't he?
But yeah, I think he's got some fucking great stories, and dines out on them literally. So
yeah, we need to get him on the brew.
Yeah, he would be an ideal brew candidate for many reasons.
And he was in that.
He was in the '91 game as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if you can run it like that no more.
No, you can't. You can't.
You'd have agents on the phone.
Player's got too much power. You can't tell a
it.
player he's not living there. Or starters digs isn't even a thing, is it anymore?
Yes, but it's only for like academy players.
Right, okay.
Like there's no like we had first team players in fucking digs with Mrs. Marple. Like, do you know what I mean? Like we had
crazy that. Lee Sharp was saying that interview, like feeding time there was like feeding time at the zoo because like 12 of you trying to get into your food.
Now that some of the players at United earn 20 million quid a year, they aren't staying in student accommodation or whatever.
It's not student
four-bedroom house
accommodation.
in Urmston.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
City did do this, and these people make a bit of fucking cash doing this because I think it's a couple of grand a player that you get, and basically just be the surrogate mum and dad for them. Pick them up, take them to training, drop them off, wash the kit for them, feed them. Like, no, there's a few people that are doing that. United still do it with academy players. It's from about 13 to 18-ish.
Really?
Yeah.
$2 grand?
A couple of grand a month, yeah.
I need to start moving some kids
What,
around.
to adopt one of the most
my kids can all
highly
start
promising
sharing.
Yeah, I
They can all
can't-
share the bedroom.
I can't imagine
We're moving some academy players in.
I can't imagine it's like the loosest sort of recruitment process. I'm pretty sure it's on recommendation for one.
Right.
I don't
Yeah,
think you can just-
with your past, there's no chance.
I love the fact
Imagine.
that you're making it, inferring that proper dodgy.
Yeah,
Wait, Jay,
come
you
on.
just go, I'm clean now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
CRB'd.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Almost.
Why is this written on the back of a cereal box?
Because that's the one they gave me.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's something that anybody can get into. But
Right.
there's people making a lot of fucking cash. As I don't know if that was the case then.
No,
I fear not. I feel like it's just.
It is crazy
It's
when you
football
see like
inflation.
old stories of like Duncan Edwards and players like in digs playing for England and Manchester United, and you live in, like you say, at Mrs. Marple's house with 10 other youngsters. It's like
George Best was in digs on the same street my granddad was on.
Sure, really? That's me. That.
It was in Charlton.
Right.
In the 50s as well, they weren't even making that much
No,
more
there was
than
a
like.
wage.
Well, there's
the
a thing,
average
wasn't there,
bloke.
about don't tell me you're a footballer because they don't make anything.
Yeah.
Tell me you're a plumber.
Yeah, well, that's what Tom Finney from Preston was a plumber. He was a plumber whilst he was playing for Preston in England because he had a wage limit, a wage cap. It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Game's gone.
Should we do a little Wally of the week?
Where'd you
Oh,
start?
I had one a second ago as well. It was a fucking
There's about
belter.
500, isn't there? That
Yeah.
you could do.
Oh, Freddie Quinn.
You're Freddie Quinn or our Freddie? Why?
For nearly dying.
What?
You not seen him?
No.
No?
Fucker's in intensive care with a fucking astronaut thing on.
Why?
What's happened?
What do you mean
COVID, I
astronaut
think.
thing? COVID?
Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
He's got it.
Is he alright?
Bad. Well, no, he's in intensive care,
But
Joe.
is he what though?
That's why he's Wally of the Week. For getting COVID.
That's one of the most mental Wally of the week.
Because
we've ever
honestly,
had. Isn't
3
it?
fucking years ago, Freddie. Yeah. Well,
I hope it. Jesus Christ.
He's tweeting. To be fair, he's posting on his own social media, so he's obviously got some
Is it?
humour about it. Well, someone.
I don't know. He's doing
Is that
well
the same?
nowadays.
He was
He might have a manager. Hang on. Can you see that?
He was.
So
Remember when Mino Raiola was posting? It was all right. And
that's
he
a
wasn't.
good point. Go on then. Who's your Wally of the week? Ideally, someone that maybe isn't in intensive care. If you could pick.
So shout out to Freddie. Don't die.
Yeah. Stay safe.
Is it
Freddie,
Gillian
please.
Keegan? I don't want to get all political. Is it Gillian Keegan?
Gillian McKeith.
Gillian McKeith.
Yeah.
No, that's the woman who fainted on I'm a Celebrity. I'm
Correct.
thinking of the education secretary.
Oh yeah.
Who left the hot mic on when she was bragging about what a great job she's doing. Just a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with her.
I reckon. Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any.
I just think
refereeing VAR.
Yeah, I just
for
think
turning
VAR
it.
and refs. I just think it's just crap. It's just every game there is a problem. Like what have we seen since VAR came in 2019
He's not on WhatsApp anymore.
that indicates things are getting better, less mistakes are being made? Christ. Like,
Has
what?
he been online lately?
What has got better since VAR came in? Do we know? Is there any metric on this? Do they do studies? Do they analyse whether this is actually good or bad for football?
None
do
of what they promised us
watching
is happening,
football
is
more?
it?
Are there less mistakes?
Put it this way.
What is better?
Garnacho went through, and my response was this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're all right. I made the mistake of celebrating. And I usually don't when I think that's marginal, but I got carried away and I thought, oh, he might be all right. And then when I saw it
I saw the player ahead of him, the one above him on the screen, and I was like, he's in front of him. I didn't notice the one below, so I stayed. And I hate that VAR has robbed me of that.
For you.
Like I said, imagine 1999 where he goes boom in the roof of the net and everyone goes,
yeah.
Fuck
And
off.
then you wait.
Fuck off.
Yeah, you're waiting after
And
Teddy's goal.
and then they go VAR goal, and you go yay.
And everyone's calm down, everyone's buying to regroup themselves
Fuck
properly.
off. Yeah,
And
fuck off.
we don't win.
Couple of comments. People saying fewer mistakes, but first of all, that's just opinion. I think we think maybe there's fewer mistakes, but it depends. Where's the study that actually backs that up? Let's say there is fewer mistakes. Football is worse to watch. Football as a sport is less enjoyable.
It's worse in the ground
It is
and it's
worse
worse
to
out of the
watch.
ground.
I don't really care if there's a few mistakes. Footballers make mistakes. Managers make mistakes. Refs make mistakes. I don't even mind.
The reason we're here
It's ruining
is for that
football.
silence as the ball's on its way to the fucking goal and that explosion afterwards. That's all we're here for.
It's not. I'm not here to.
I'm not here for
conduct
throw-ins.
a medical experiment
Yeah.
or a scientific experiment on how few mistakes we can make. I don't care. I want football to be fun to watch,
Yeah,
and
it's
it
gotta be
is less fun
spontaneous.
than it used to be because of
You're
VAR.
just wrecking it,
That's
aren't
all I care about.
So what was your Wally of the week?
Just VAR and the
Yours
fact that
fully
every
true.
week we have to do this. Wasn't it ref watch? Fuck ref watch off. Let's just have refs reffing the game. Until, and I said this on Uncensored, which we recorded a little bit before with Adam, until it is completely just computer done and it's instant, like the goal line technology is, there's no opinion, there's no send it to someone else, it's just did it cross the line or not. If we can get to that point with offsides, if we can get to that point with even fouls somehow using AI, I don't know, then fair enough. It's a red card, yes or no, gone. But until then, it's just worse, and it takes too long, and you can't celebrate, and there may be less mistakes, but first of all, I haven't seen any evidence that there is, and second of all, I don't even give a shit because it's just shitter to watch football, so get rid of it.
Give us back our spontaneity.
Yeah.
And that's
It's a bit
it.
wordy
And
for a
you can
bumper
forgive
sticker.
it if it's a linesman's made a split-second decision and he's maybe marginally wrong.
like I said
But when
to
you've
you,
had
though,
time to analyse it and still got it wrong, that's annoying.
Let's have a line. You lot can't see on the...
I don't do that
They
anymore,
can see it.
Stephen.
They can see it.
It's about that big, right? So these two lines that are on the desk, right? Let's have, when they put the VAR line on the defender, instead of it being a pixel perfect thing, let's get a bit of doubt in there.
Yeah.
And let's
Tennis
go.
ball's width of a line.
No, fuck you. 8 inches. A big fat bastard of a line. A big dutty one that Jay used to like, right? A big greedy one, right? A big fucking juicy Johnny Cash line, right?
Yeah.
And if the player, the attacking player's line lines up within that fucking 8-inch of margin of error, crack on.
Yeah.
Just instead of like this 1 pixel thick line, no, give me a fat line that covers a little bit of space. Because what is the fundamental reason for offside? It's an unfair advantage for a ball being played through. Basically, fuckers who goal lang.
Yeah.
Right? Not two bastards who are half a millimetre apart.
Yeah, and sometimes at opposite sides of the pitch, who could never have interfered and stopped each other anyway. You can have someone on one wing being played offside by a centimetre by someone on the other wing. You're not even on the same planet, let alone,
So,
causing an unfair advantage.
The spirit of the rule is an unfair advantage. If your line is within the margin of error of this big fat dutty line, you're on
That
side.
seems reasonable. Because I was even people say the daylight thing, but I think that's flawed.
Yeah.
A little bit. Also, as well, did you see the thing with City again? And Haaland after the game saying one of their goals should have been disallowed.
Yeah.
For offside. It's just shambles every week.
I know.
Just getting everything. And the one at Everton, you see the one at Everton, where they were lining up the Sheffield United players for the free kick. They moved forward in front of the line that the referee's drawn. All the Everton players are going mad. And the referee just draws another line. Are you making this up as you go along? What are you doing?
Let's start a campaign. Fat lines for all.
Yeah. Matt Wicks makes
We support big lines, greedy
Wicks,
ones.
makes a decent point. It says, but you still have to define the margin, and when it comes to the exact same scenario, moved 8 inches. But then you've had 8 inches of striker's advantage, rather than like, oh, it's just a
no, put it on
fraction
the
of
same
anything.
places that you're putting it, because let's take Garnacho for an example, or everyone where you have to Google and fucking pixelate someone's ball bag to find out whether he was onside or offside. Give them a big fat 8 inches left or right, because they can do that.
Yeah.
They know how big the pitch is. They know how big 8 inches would be. Just give it a fat line. If it's within that line, if those lines are touching each other, there's no advantage.
No.
Crack on, goal stands.
Yeah.
That's how it needs to be. It needs to be as simple as that. When they introduced the IFAB rules, they said at the start, if you're fucking Googling and zooming in on pixels to see if someone's on or offside, that's not clear and obvious. No. It needs to be Drogba in 2010. You need to go, he's offside.
Yeah. Yeah. The Garnacho one, he maybe was technically offside, but again, there's even the problem with, did they draw it from the top of his head? Did they draw it from his shoulder? Yeah. Where is the ball when it gets played?
Also, the angle, it's bang on the halfway line, that camera, so at that angle, it's going to look off anyway.
It's all just a bit messed up in it.
Just give us a fat line. Yeah. Give us a fat line. Allow a margin of error, because you can't be this, because I don't ever see them being as precise of when the ball is played.
No.
We never see them figuring out which frame it is from when the ball is played.
Yeah.
Because
and also, what does played mean? Is it the last?
No, it's the first.
What?
It's the first contact with the ball, because there's a team in Sweden that's actually found a loophole to get around offside. Now, no one's ever done it.
Scoop passes.
Yeah. Essentially, lift the ball up.
Yeah.
And then, so you can stand here next to me.
Wait,
I lift it up on my foot,
right.
and then I maintain contact with it as you run in behind the defence, and then I flick it, and there's a video online. Go and check it out, because they've got a referee in and gone, it's by the rock.
So, I didn't know this. So, offside is when the ball is first. So, the ball's here. This is the player's foot making the pass for the offside. You're offside now, and all of this movement isn't. Did you know that? I thought it was when the ball left the foot.
Yeah. No, it's when the ball is played. So, which is a weird phrase. So it's as soon as the foot makes contact with it. Go and have a look at this. This Swedish football team's video has made a really good thing. They found a loophole, and someone at IFAB has gone, well, technically you're right. Good luck standing there balancing a ball on your foot without getting clattered.
Yeah. That just sounds like more drama than it's worth.
But technically, you're going to be able to try this, I guess.
But yeah, I've got it here. So if anyone wants to see it, Google Swedish team offside loophole, and you'll find it straight away. But they don't make enough fuss of when the ball is played and when it's left the foot, start the foot. It's just I don't want to have this conversation every other week. It's just shit, and it's boring, and it makes football less exciting. So get rid of it. Right, that's
fat lines for all.
That's going to be all. Thank you very much for joining. This has been the Paddock Podcast. That's Jay Marty. Make sure you check him out on the Scotty and Marty podcast. That's Stephen Howson. He's pretty much everywhere, but check him out on Vibe with Five on his own channel. Just, it's Steve.
Go and check out his Patreon.
Oh, and go and check out his Patreon, because he's
I'm probably going to have to upload that now, aren't I?
Yeah, you are. Go and check that out.
Can you just give any sort of teasers to roughly what is being uploaded?
Galatasaray away, 1994?
90s, 90... Yeah, it would have been 93, 94, wouldn't it?
There you go.
93, 94 season.
But in Carrington.
There you go. Make sure you check it out. Thank you very much for joining us. Hit subscribe to Stretford Paddock if you haven't already, and we'll see you in a bit.